And we're recording. I wonder what day it is. Wow, my throat's dry. Let me have a bit of OJ to lubricate my vocal cords. Just a little bit. What time is it?
It's 8:02 p.m.
Okay, yeah, it's February 6th. It's Monday. It's 8:02 p.m. As you just heard. So anyway, in my last video, I talked a little bit about not weird, but just mistaken uses of English in Japan. Now, of course, people make mistakes, people misunderstand things, people hear the wrong thing, or choose the wrong word, or mispronounce things. It's natural. It's, nothing against anyone who makes mistakes like that. It's natural, as I said. So I thought I'd give an example of something interesting that happened to me several years ago in Japan. There's a word in Japanese. It's kind of a response or a retort. You just say shoganai. And shoganai, when something bad happens but it's out of your hands and it's better just to let it go and not dwell on it, you can say shoganai. It's raining, the bus is late, it's frustrating, but shoganai. So shoganai is kind of like c'est la vie, that's life. Shit happens. So don't make a big deal about it. Just accept it and understand that there's nothing you can do to change it, so there's no point in getting too upset about it. So you just say shoganai. Now, many years ago, I was out with some co-workers. We went to a restaurant. We did something. I can't remember exactly what we did, but after that, we went to a restaurant. It was in the afternoon. We had some lunch, and I don't drink alcohol, and I prefer non-carbonated beverages, although I do like root beer and A&W cream soda. That's the only carbonated drink I'll have unless I'm sick, and then I might have Sprite because I want the lemony feeling. But I prefer non-carbonated drinks. However, on the menu, they didn't have a lot of soft drinks, and I wasn't in the mood for tea. And in my free time, I never drink coffee. I use coffee kind of medicinally. If I'm tired, I'll have coffee to wake myself up, but I don't drink it at all in my free time. I don't have any coffee at home. So basically, the only thing on the menu that caught my eye was ginger ale. And it's rare for me to order ginger ale, but I ordered ginger ale. And when they brought the drinks to the table, I took a sip, and it tasted just basically like water. I let a couple other people with me take a little sip, and they said it didn't have a lot of flavor. And they thought maybe they'd run out of the syrup or the flavoring for the ginger ale when they made it, or maybe they put in too much ice or something. But they asked if I wanted to complain and have them redo it, and I just said, nah, it's okay. I can still drink it, shoganai. And then they started laughing. And that's when I learned that in Japanese, shoga means ginger. And another potential meaning of shoganai means there's no ginger. Lack of ginger. Absence of ginger. So this ginger ale had no flavor, tastes like water, shoganai. Literally means there's no ginger. So they started laughing, and then I kind of quickly understood that shoga meant ginger, and they thought I just made an amazing and well-timed joke. So I just took it and said, that's how awesome I am. I made that joke because I'm that cool. So, it wasn't misspeaking, but something I said could be taken kind of like a pun. And it, taught me a new word. And, mistakes are the best teachers. So there's that one more time. Shoganai, c'est la vie, that's life, shit happens. I teach students English ways to say this, and they're going to encounter it when they watch movies or TV shows, or when they talk to native speakers. People say, shit happens. That's life. They say that all the time. And shogunai is a pretty common response when the appropriate situations happen in Japan. So you don't want to use Japanese responses when you're speaking English. You want to use English responses, just like when I'm speaking Japanese. I don't want to use English responses when I'm speaking Japanese. I want to use Japanese responses, because responses are part of the language. So there are certain things you say at certain times. You can't really translate them. It's just, this is what you say when this happens, or in this situation, this is what you should say, rather than how do you translate this into English, or how do you translate this into Japanese. You should think more along the lines of, what should I say in this situation? Now, for example, when Japanese people go home after work, they say "otsukare-sama" or "otsukare-sama deshita," which basically translates directly to "thank you for your hard work," or "thank you for working," "thank you for your effort." And in English, we just say, "see you later," "see you tomorrow," or "I'm going home, have a good night." You just give a normal closing. You don't thank them. So translating the Japanese into English will fail, because that's not natural. That's not what people would say in English. Another thing, before people eat, they look at their food and they say "itadakimasu," which is basically, thanking the food for existing and for being here to nourish you. And in English, you just eat. And some people say they want to say like some kind of blessing. And I said, well, you don't say a blessing before you eat unless that's part of your religious custom. So traditionally, typically in English, we just start eating. So they want to say bon appetit, but bon appetit is what you tell other people. Bon appetit. I'm giving them some food, and I'm telling them to enjoy the food. I don't say it to myself. I don't say it to the food. I don't say it when I'm alone. But it's just one of the things you can't translate. How do you translate this into English? Fair enough, you can translate it into English so then English speakers can understand Japanese. But what do you say in English? That's more important. So a lot of students go through this filter. They go through Japanese to get the English, and their English comes out very unnaturally. Now, I said I was going to give an example of an English mistake that happened, because it's natural to make these kind of mistakes. So this happened to me a long time ago. I would have been probably in grade 6, maybe even grade 7, but I know it was a long time ago. Now, my older brother, Sean, my only brother, I think he might have been 16 at the time, or close to it, because after school he was talking about how he learned about the limitations placed on minors. And he said minors can't drink alcohol, minors can't smoke, minors can't drive cars, minors can't have sex, all of these limitations on minors. And I was thinking, I get some of that, but some of it, I just don't think it makes any sense. It doesn't seem fair. Like, I understand you're down in the mines, it's dark, you come back up, maybe your eyes have to adjust to the sunlight, or maybe it's too bright, so you shouldn't drive a car. I can stretch and find the logic behind that. Not smoking, well, down in the mine you shouldn't smoke because there's a limited amount of oxygen. So you shouldn't smoke when you're in the mine. And drinking alcohol, well, that's a dangerous job. You shouldn't smoke. You shouldn't drink alcohol while you're working in a mine. You're just gonna, make problems for everybody, put people's lives at risks. And I just thought, some of those I can understand. That's part of the job. But why can't you have sex? Seriously. Like, there are already a lot of things that might turn people off about being a minor. But not having sex because you're a minor, that's a deal breaker. And my brother looked at me and he just said, he said, minor. Minor. And I said, yeah, minor. A guy in a mine. He said, no, or. minor, or. And I said, yeah, minor, or any other job. Seriously, it's like, you got minor, or any other job. I'll pick any other job. Thank you. And later, I learned what minors were. And it stuck with me, 40 years. Because that's just funny. That misunderstanding is funny. I'm there railing against, all of these restrictions placed on basically like Snow White's 7 little buddies, the dwarfs. I guess that's safer for her. Anyway, people misunderstand things. They mishear things. They don't know the meaning of certain words, or they mistake words that sound like something else and have different meanings. It's totally natural. It happens to students. The range of English they know is much, much smaller than a native speaker, of course. So they're naturally not going to know every word they hear, or they might mishear things, or maybe 2 words blend together and they don't recognize what was said. So mistakes are natural. I think being a minor still sucks, though. The job. The other one, I think there are workarounds for at least 1 or 2 of those things. And a couple of them, fair enough. Let's just say it as it is. Anyway, this is just a little rambly nonsense video. Please enjoy your day. Thanks for watching.